friends at G Fuel just launched a new flavor, Sour Phaseberry, and in celebration, my code ESPRESSO is now 30% off through Monday the 25th. If you guys are interested, check the link in the description below to get 30% off your order. Every update with Modern Warfare and Warzone seems to bring with it a handful of changes that aren't ever publicly stated, no matter how long the notes of additions, changes, and everything in between are on the official front. This update honestly offered a lot in terms of new features, including the things of new maps, new Warzone features like the armor box and adjustments to the gulag, and a host of other weapon balancing across the board. But at the same time, there's still a handful of items that were adjusted that you may not have known about or seen because they simply were not listed. While this list is admittedly smaller than others that we've talked about in the past, there's still those changes that I want to run down with you today that you may have missed. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. If you could change one thing for Season 4's update, what would it be and why? For me, personally, I think it'd be audio adjustments in Warzone, but I'd love to get your thoughts. And also, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to stay notified of any updates, news, information, and anything of the sorts regarding Modern Warfare and Warzone on a daily basis. But that said, let's jump into it. Let's start with some of the stuff that isn't so glaringly obvious. First, I want to talk about one that I saw right away and had a bunch of people tweet me at, and it was an odd change that I didn't really see coming, but it was a change to the armory. If you haven't seen this just yet, if you go to your armory, you may notice that at the bottom of the listed blueprints that you have for each weapon classification, you'll now see a few weapons highlighted that you don't actually have that are highlighted in gold as sort of their weapon card in that blueprint listing. At first, when I saw this on Tuesday, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It shows you all the blueprints that you don't have now, so you can see everything in the game. But after checking a little bit further, I realized there obviously was a lot missing here that would have been in that if it was every single blueprint in the game. So it prompted me to re-examine, to which I've since figured out that at the bottom of the armory is actually all of the blueprints that you do not have that are currently featured in the shop. So if you have anything that is in the Just For You tabs, the featured, the blueprints, and the operators tabs, they'll all appear in here in your armory as well as in your store, so you can sort of uniformly preview everything like the attachments that come along with that weapon as well, instead of having to jump over to the store. The only thing that I think could have made this a little bit more clearer as to the reasoning as to why it's here was if there was that sort of link to the affiliated bundle like before with the vehicle customization before that was patched up. But anyways, for those wondering about that, that's the reasoning you're seeing a few more blueprints that you may actually have in your armory. Next, I want to talk about another one that I think is a cool thing that was added in, and hopefully is the first of many to come, but this being a reward for Warzone. One of the big things that I said since the beginning was that I'd really hope to see some sort of reward system for Warzone. I mean, you're sharing the same ranking system, the same battle pass, so once you complete that stuff, you're in the same boat as MP with not much to really keep you sticking around for if you want to keep earning. Sure, I kind of chased leaderboards for a little bit, but without having as much time on my hands as of lately, the skill and chemistry of my squad winning can't really keep up with leaderboard grinding. That's only 2 of 3 factors there that you have. But for the first time, we actually have a reward for winning, and it's minimal, but it's a start no less. For those that jumped on and played Warzone and perhaps have won a match of Battle Royale, you may have noticed that you actually got rewarded with a calling card for your first win after update 1.21. It doesn't seem like it is a retroactive calling card, or at least to my knowledge it isn't, so just like the Mighty Mushroom Nuke calling card, if you've gotten one before, you'll have to re-earn it so that you can get credit for that calling card. But the last one standing currently is listed as a Season 3 reward for winning one match of Warzone's Battle Royale, so it's possible that we may see more in the future, and I'm honestly hoping so, on top of others. But again, like I said, this is a nice little start, I think. It's at least something. Next thing that was added in was a secret weapon blueprint for the MP7. We'll talk about this a little bit more because just kind of being thorough and covering it all. We'll talk about the Easter egg stuff that was actually added in. There's a little more than we've talked about here on the channel already, but for the Bunker 11 Easter egg, which we've put up a full guide here on the channel if you guys want to do that, you can end up going in, seeing some really cool stuff that progresses the narrative and the storyline behind Warzone. You see a nuke, you see a bunch of old Soviet era decor in this bunker, and of course then you have the ability to pick up the brand new DRAUBER MP7, to which it looks, 1, awesome, 2, it is something that actually has a lot of functional purpose. It's actually a build that I would absolutely use, which I can't really say about many pre-made blueprints in Modern Warfare. And 3, it's just that awesome reward to show off that, hey, I did this thing that not many people did. The DRAUBER comes with a monolithic suppressor, the 5mm laser, the no stock attachment, the 60-round magazine, and the Ranger foregrip, and just overall looks badass. Now, the only downside is that if you did the Easter egg for Bunker 11 within the first 12 to 24 hours, perhaps, that it was around, it doesn't count and you do have to do it again, unfortunately. The earn rate and progression of that was bugged, so I had done it twice in that time frame. I still don't personally have mine. Huge shout out to Carnage Hero for the screenshot of what you're seeing on screen right now, but that was an awesome little piece for players to earn that was added in under the radar that, again, because it is tied to an Easter egg, I guess I understand a little bit further as to why it wasn't mentioned, but that was added in as of the update as well. Let's talk about some technical changes, some things that went under the radar that were adjusted either on the weapon side or also on some user interface stuff in game. Now, when we talk about technical stuff, the biggest one that comes to my mind is the RPG, which got an unintentional buff. Now, yes, it did get nerfed as it was mentioned, but it also increased the maximum damage from 150 to 250, which means, in effect, whenever you take this weapon post-patch and compare it to pre-patch, beforehand, in order to get a one-hit kill or a one-hit down, you had to direct impact the player. But now you have a radius of about 2.5 meters from that player's feet that you can end up doing a one-hit kill from. And that's something that, yes, isn't in statistical terminology, maybe something that is too drastic. It's 2.5 meters, but in a gameplay perspective, you're definitely going to notice that. All that player has to do is land that shot close to you, and you have the possibility of going down in one hit. Doesn't matter if you're full HP or not, with full armor. So this is something that is definitely an interesting change and one that didn't go on the record, but when developers were adamant about nerfing the RPGs for their role in the current meta and just spam nature of it, this seems to be the opposite effect than what we wanted. So I'm assuming this will get fixed in the future, but for the time being, there's been a slight buff to it. On some user interface perspectives, we ended up seeing that there also was a new down screen in play whenever you end up going down in either Plunder or Battle Royale. You end up having a different bleeding out icon, and of course also when a player is reviving you, that's also changed as a result. It gets rid of the reviving player and makes the UI a little bit more cleaner by removing some of those HUD elements. Additionally, in terms of that UI, you can now also leave with your party, which has kind of thrown me off quite a few times whenever I'm party host, because now that's the topmost feature, and there's 3 interactable options if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves. But beforehand, we ended up only seeing the double prompt of if you wanted to leave the game, but then if you said yes, it would say to pull all party members from that game or not. And so it was just muscle memory different, but that's something that was changed as well. Then we'll talk about some stuff that was changed here in the way of Easter eggs. Of course, we already mentioned the red access card and the entire Easter egg hunts, how you can open up different bunkers and all that goes along with that. You end up seeing that you can enter in for different loot on the ones that are on the outside, but then the Bunker 11 has, of course, that little convoluted Easter egg to go along with it of connecting all the phones and then opening that up. But that stuff has been added in. We've talked about that. Those were just for the sake of being thorough part of this. But another one that was added in that was recently found was that of the RCXD Easter egg. If you head over to the sort of swamplands and marshlands just west of the prison, you'll end up noticing that there was a previously locked off cabin that is now opened up. When you go in and enter into this, you see that there's the basic building blocks of an RCXD. You have a remote controller, you have batteries, and it looks like what is a chassis for the RCXD itself. Now, what's weird about this is, of course, the fact that, one, this is just now opened up with another update that flooded Verdansk with a bunch of little Easter eggs here with it, but the RCXD has never been in a mainline Infinity Ward title. I'm talking a main release that is on the main platforms. To my knowledge, I think the RCXD was in the Nintendo DS version of Modern Warfare 3, but never on 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, or PC across all the years that Call of Duty has been out for Infinity Ward titles. So to see this now in Verdansk, in Modern Warfare, is quite interesting, and the theory behind it is that this may be some stealth marketing for what could be Call of Duty 2020. Of course, the rumors and of course prominent leakers have said that it's Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, a mouthful to be sure in terms of the actual name, but if that's the case, that could be a callback and then previewing what could be what is upcoming, since the RCXD has been a mainstay in all the Black Ops titles since Black Ops 1, the original, going back to Vietnam and the Cold War. Black Ops 1 with the RCXD, Black Ops 2 with the RCXD, Black Ops 3 with the HCXD, and Black Ops 4 with the RCXD as well. So definitely interesting, no less, and something that is interesting and an addition that was under the radar and maybe for good reason. The final thing that was added in under the radar is that of what is the tier sale. I don't think I've seen too much mention of it here, but it's something you'll see if you look at your Battle Pass tag in-game. But having completed all 100 tiers, I personally can't see how long this lasts anymore, but it is something that's going on as well currently. But that said, that is the secret changes here that were added in as of 1.21 on Tuesday. But on top of that, we also did see today that we got a little bit more added in to the mix here. We have BR Trios Classic, which is no cash, no contracts, no gulags, no loadouts, no respawns. You just simply got to drop in, loot up, and survive. And then in the store, there actually was an awesome little feature of the Call of Duty Endowment Fearless pack that for $10, you end up getting a Milsim skin, the For the Cause M4A1 blueprint, the standout camo, which is universal and can be used on any weapon, the Steadfast watch, the orange boonie, weapon charm, the Noble Sacrifice calling card, the Honorable Sacrifice calling card, and a few emblems to go along with that. Now, normally this stuff wouldn't really be my cup of tea, but again, like we said, it is the Call of Duty Endowment, so this goes to an absolutely great cause, putting veterans and those who have serviced their country back into jobs once they return stateside or back home after their deployment. So definitely a good cause if you guys have $10 you want to spend and want to get something cool out of it. That was added in as of today also. But anyways, that's where we're going to wrap it up. We're going to keep you guys in the loop with everything going on and of course all the changes that you may not have noticed out of the most recent update. But that said, hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get content outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.